Hey folks, back again. This time we are going through some of Simon's pictures. Simon's over there, and he's reading a Fiat Doblo catalogue for reasons unknown. Do you own a Fiat Doblo?
Not yet. It's just a matter of time, though.
Just
a matter of time.
Just researching for future purchases.
That's it. Yeah.
That's excellent. Right, so I am gonna just dive straight in to the first of your cars, and it is this one.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, see? No. Simon does not know which ones I've picked, which makes this extra exciting for everyone involved, or at least it does for me. So, first, I'm just going to point out, you've gone for the Volvo.
Volvo, look at that. Cunning. I think this was it's a drawing I had already done, and then I went to Wheels Day and saw this car, and either the owner asked me to do it or I just felt like doing it. I think it's probably the latter, because I had a car very similar to this myself. Not for long, but yeah, I think the Volvo script on the front of the bonnet there is because it was on another car, a UK car that's got American racing wheels on it and those badges.
Yes. Nice. I picked this because I love Volvo Amazon Wagons. They are one of my very favourite cars in the entire world, and I particularly like them when they've got big American racing wheels or similar on them, because they just fill the arches really nicely, and I've never seen one look bad. As long as it's got the right sized wheels at the right ride height, they just look phenomenal.
Yeah, and they bolt straight on.
Yeah. Yep.
Which is handy.
So you'd already done this for yourself or someone else?
I'd done it for myself. I'd done it as part of a sort of series that I did, because this is the cartoony style, which I really enjoy doing. But other people don't enjoy it so much, but I do. I like it. I like doing a slightly stretched cartoony one, but not as far as those ones with the silly big wheels that are really crazy. No. The ones that you buy for your granddad, a picture of his Transit that he uses for roofing. Not one of those ones, but my own version of the cartoony ones. I like doing these. These are the ones that if you did get me to do a commission, I like doing these ones because there's a bit more flexibility in it, a bit more fun.
I was thinking also, this is actually pretty stock for you as well. It is lowered on wheels with some coloured lights and some clear indicators, but it's still got the door handles. You haven't single pieced the windows or any of that sort of stuff.
No, it's not really one of those concept ones. So if I'm doing one for Street Machine or Classic Ford or something like that, then you're trying to put an idea into it. But in reality, if I could just do an almost stock car that's lowered on some nice wheels, that's all things need, or little details in this case, like the yellow headlamps, which I think were on the car that I changed this to look like. So not my idea, someone else's. So yeah, it's not about ideas then, it's just about cool looking cars.
Yeah, I think that's a good takeaway pretty much for everyone. Like in reality, like we're going through your cars because I like the ideas and the thought processes and kind of where you can spin out further ideas from some of your concepts and ideas about modifying something. But in reality, the majority of cars that you'll see at shows that look great are lowered on some nice wheels with some little details, and that's all you need to have an awesome car. You don't need to go to the nth degree with it. In fact, occasionally you'll go to the nth degree with something and end up regretting it greatly, like doing engine swaps.
Any car I've ever done, if I've ever done a colour change on a car, I think I've always looked back on it and thought, I should have just left it as the original colour. And yet I still think about what colour I'd paint cars that I own. But I've always regretted it every colour change I've ever made. And not that I've done that many engine swaps, but as you well know, engine swaps rarely work unless you're doing it yourself and you're clever. And I'm neither of those things.
I remember, I think it was A. Brannon that I was talking to one time, and we were talking about engine swaps, and it's just basically saying as soon as you've done an engine swap, you're forever cleaning up leaks there's always something that's leaking from then on out, pretty much, unless you're getting, someone like Retro Power to do it, in which case you're spending an infinite volume of money. You're going to end up having to deal with stuff that just wasn't going to happen if you hadn't have done that engine swap, because
that's it.
Well, I mean, the idea.
Talking of Mr. Brannan there, that's one of the, he knows how it works. I mean, he's got a lot of nice cars and he's had a lot of nice cars, but that Horizon is literally just wheels and drop, and he's not done anything else with it, really. And he loves driving that thing.
And that's the thing. It's that people will go nuts on their modifications, and they're great. Like, people keep doing that because bring them to our shows and we love seeing them. But they're troublesome, like, in their own way. And sometimes you'll get a little bit more pleasure out of a car that you don't really have to think about, because you just wheels and load it and just make it look nice in all other regards, and you're onto a winner. In fact, last week we were talking about Rob Richardson, and that's very much in line with how he tended to do things. He'd take a nice base and enhance it, rather than go completely nuts and do engine swaps and install air ride and do things like that. The only exception to that would be the Toyota that he had, but then with that he stripped it, and then so what he was left with he then enhanced, which was just genius. The car's great. Should probably get him on here at some point, because his cars are lovely. But yes, I like this for its simplicity. I like the fact that you can just look at this and go, that's got wheels and low. And actually getting these low isn't too troublesome. It's a known quantity. All the parts are out there. Yep. You could go nuts and stick something ridiculous under the bonnet, but those B-series engines, some carbs and a bit of breathing on them.
My one had a Pinto in it, obscurely.
How strange.
A 2-litre Pinto in it. So
that's a strong look. If you did want to go nuts, the 5-cylinder Volvo engines in the 960 are a good look. I think it's the 960.
It's a brave statement. Yes, I believe that the Volvo blocks stayed the same for a while, and there's an easier swap, but I wouldn't like to say where it came from, any of that stuff. Yeah, T5 lump goes straight in, mate.
Yeah, just swap it in. It's fine.
Straight in, mate.
Right, let's go on to our next one.
Oh, yeah.
So, shall I tell you why I picked this? Actually, no. You tell us what you're thinking, and then I'll tell you why I picked this.
Now I'm wondering what you're thinking rather than what I'm thinking. So I haven't seen this picture for a while. This is obviously a Granada Scorpio. I think it might even be more Granada than Scorpio, but I don't know. It's a classic Ford drawing, and this is unusually not that modified. We were just saying about, you turn estates into vans or do a 2-door stretch, but this is one that was just let's go for some VIP styly, which is exactly what it is. Is that black or grey, do you think?
I think it's supposed to be black.
Yeah.
Because VIP cars should be black.
Yeah.
Or white. They have two colour choices. If you have a VIP car and it's not either black or white, you've done it wrong. Come at me, bro.
Yeah, that's it. But in this case, you can't really do it too black because it goes in the magazine. And when you do a black car with black tyres and black wheels and black windows, you end up with a blob.
Yeah.
And nobody wants a blob on their page. You're not paying good money for a car magazine only to open it and have a blob. That's not good. But yeah, it's original chrome all still on it, shining away, rather unlikelyly shining away like that. It's very shiny. It's like someone was shining a light across the centre of it for some reason. And then what were those wheels? Keskins?
Yeah, they look like Keskins to me.
Look like Keskin wheels. In fact, I drew it. They're whatever bloody wheels I want. They are Keskin wheels. That's what they are, even if they're specially made ones that Keskin haven't actually made before. That's what they are. They're a conceptual Keskin wheel. Not really. Nice. They're moon discs with triangle stickers on them.
Moon discs with stickers is what they are, definitely.
Yeah, no, they're not. They're not. They're moon discs with a hologram projected on them to make them look like Keskin fictional wheels.
Perfect.
It's cool, isn't it? My mum had a Granada Scorpio hatch with a 2-litre twin cam engine in it, and it was really nice to drive. It was lovely. She used to say, "Oh, I looked down at the speedo and I was doing 90 again."
Oh no.
Oh, mum.
Oh, Mum.
Yeah, there you go. She loved that car. Billy, its name was. And it was white, so it would have been perfect for your VIP rules.
Correct. Now, the reason I picked this was because I like VIP cars a lot. Big fan of VIP cars. And I've got a bee in my bonnet about the homogenous nature of the worldwide car scene in the age of the internet, which actually, on reflection, I didn't necessarily need. And there's a whole podcast in that, which I will discuss with Simon at great lengths at some point. But I still have a slight bee in my bonnet about it, because instead of building VIP cars here, people will just import the correct VIP car. So you'll get a Crown or whatever. And I want a VIP car, and I've looked to do the same thing. So that's kind of, I get that. But what I really like is looking at the car that would have been the equivalent of the Crown from the same era in Europe, and then doing it with that. So an Audi S8 or Audi A8 of the slightly later 90s. These Fords, like the big Fords, they make sense to me as VIP cars, and I wish more people do them. Obviously, nowadays most of these have probably been bangered, but because that is the
robbed for the engine,
robbed for the engine, and then bang a race with a Pinto in it or something.
Yeah.
Because that is the fate of all large Fords, to end up on the back of a high ab somewhere.
It'd be good to see it like a VIP Mark II as well. That'd be pretty cool. Although there was that white one with the BMW underpinnings that probably would have ticked those boxes, because that was really pretty cool. But that was cool. But yeah, that's kind of where I came from with this. I really like the fact, and these things are still quite cheap. Like for something with a Ford badge with a reasonable engine in it, if you find one of these for sale, you could tidy it up and VIP it. There's that weird maroon brown in my experience though, which does make me a little bit sad. Someone at Ford definitely didn't know how to pick colours. It was horrific. But this is the nice front as well though, because don't forget they go bug eye after this.
Oh yeah.
And that doesn't suit VIP really, because that suits the banger racing, probably the bug-eyed ones. No, they're really cool. They're cool cars, and they're lovely inside, and they're lovely to drive.
The bug-eyed ones suit being made into lowriders, as we well know.
They don't really, but
no, but it still works.
Everything looks good as a lowrider, so
yes,
that's good. Yeah.
It's the right size for a lowrider, so that's what's in its favour. But yeah, I'm some more thought could be put around other VIP cars this era. They do in Japan. They make Jaguars of this era and slightly later VIP cars, and you'll get the odd Mercedes done as well. But yeah, there's a whole tier of kind of executive cars that it works on, and you can use European wheels. Like Keskins are European wheels. There are other wheels available, or you can import from Japan if you really want to and fiddle with your PCDs. But do more of these, and then put them in our showcase, and then we'll give them points, which don't mean anything, but it keeps us entertained for 10 minutes. So,
that's it. Yeah,
and that's the job of the world. Right, let's hit the next one. These things come in threes, and the next one is...
I'm scared.
This.
That's quite recent, this one. Yeah.
This is a recent one. Talk us through it, Simon.
This is a Dutton Phaeton. They should have sued Volkswagen, really, shouldn't they? But the word Phaeton exists before then.
Yeah.
I did 2 kit cars in Street Machine magazine. I just wanted to sort of do some updated kit cars, because kit cars can be a little bit naff or a bit samey. And I thought, in fact, I did. What else did I did a Midas as well. And the Phaeton, I actually looked on eBay when I did this. There was like 4 of them on eBay, ranging from something like 1,200 quid to 5,000 for a really good one or something like that. And I just thought, there's a really good base for something. And so there's a bit of, because Phaetons, if you've got one, well done, but they're considered a bit naff, and sometimes they've got weird choices. You see a lot of sort of Phaetons with Weller 8 spokes on and stuff like that. and just someone's built one out of an Escort and it looks cool and it's good fun. But they haven't really gone really crazy on how it looks. And this one has taken some of the best bits of the sort of kit car track day world and put them all together. So it's a bit of a Lotus and a bit of a Lotus 7 and a bit of a Cobra, and still a little bit of Dutton as well. In this case, you can see the Cobra-esque-ness in that it's got some Hillebrand style wheels, probably some image split rings, which you probably pick up sort of relatively cheap somewhere. And we've put a cage in it, which wasn't there before, and sort of lined that up. And we lost the lights off the front and hid little LED ones look behind the grille. Can you see them? Little projector lights behind the grille there. Sneaky. I didn't have to wire them up. It's just a drawing, so it's all right. And I don't have to pass an MOT in a drawing either, which is handy. I've already said I slanted the windscreen back and chopped it a bit. Lots of kooky features of a Phaeton have been addressed with this one, and then painted it in silver and done a little graphic on the side, which is just me writing the word Phaeton and doing some lines after it.
Nice.
Yeah, and it's got an exhaust, which I almost regret, because I had in mind something Cobra-y, and the exhaust was a good look. I think probably under the bonnet you'd put a Z-Tech or something like that. But there's a bit of me that really thinks this would work as an electric car.
Nice.
But I'd drawn the exhaust, and I hadn't drawn anything behind it, so I couldn't just remove it. I had to draw it again. So yeah, I think I'd build this electric, and it would be splendid. Imagine this sort of being a hill climb racer or a track day car. As
is documented elsewhere, one of my dream builds is an MG space framed MG midget hill climb car, but electric. And I've been after doing that since I saw. What's the name of that electric Datsun drag car? I forgot the name. White.
I want to say
or
something current. No, or
yeah.
white something. White current.
Let's call it white lightning current. Or something.
Anyway. Yeah, that's it.
Something like that.
Yeah.
White Zombie.
White Zombie.
That's a band. That's a brilliant band. Everyone go listen to them.
Don't listen to Rob Zombie. Don't do it.
It's awesome.
Too many guitars. No.
Brilliant. And I saw that and I was like, I want to build a hill climb car because it's all torque all the time. It's going to be super quick. And life has gone on and I don't have enough money to do that. But I still want to. And I could definitely see this being an electric car. I just really like this because, as you say, a lot of kit cars, particularly that sort of mid to late 80s, early 90s kit car era, they're just slightly clunky in their design. But there's a lot of them out there, and their underpinnings are Triumph and Ford. So there's loads of parts for them. They're easy to keep going as long as they've been built relatively well. But also you could do a lot more with them now because there's even better parts availability and there's more modern engines you could swap in them because they're a kit car. They're kind of designed for that. So it's actually a little bit easier than doing engine swaps as previously discussed. So I think I look at kit cars now a lot more. I have an eBay search for random kit cars. I like the fact that people will buy replicas of Ferrari 250s and slam them on the floor because that's brilliant, right? You don't have to do it to a real one, but you get to see exactly what it looks like. But all they've done is slammed a Datsun 240Z, of which there's loads.
Or turned a GT40 replica into a Miura.
Yes.
And then slammed that. Now that's cool.
That is very cool.
Yeah, kit cars are fun. Although you don't like replicas, do you? You're a replica hater.
I have a bee in my bonnet about replicas. So my problem with replicas is the AC Cobra should be an amazing and rare car to see, but it isn't because there's a million knockoffs of it. And I've seen genuine AC Cobras and I felt nothing because I'd seen so many AC Cobras in my life. But if I see a genuine, I'm just trying to think. If I see a genuine Miura, actually, there you go. There's still that kind of like, oh, I'm seeing a slightly rare car. Or I see a proper, the Daytona Le Mans, which was the one that I've actually been in a replica of and I very much enjoyed. But there aren't many replicas of them. The genuine one still feels special. And what I find is that replica kit cars devalue the thing they're a replica of. But on the other hand, I understand why people build them, because that's the only way they're going to be able to have their dream car. But I'm also thinking, well, if it's not a real one, you might as well have some fun with it. So that's kind of like where I'm at with them.
See, on my view on replicas is on a car that essentially the replica can be almost a replica of it, if you know what I mean. You can be, a Cobra is quite a simple formula. So you put a Cobra replica, you've got yourself something that's very much like a Cobra. I don't like it when people turn like Fieros into Ferrari replicas and stuff like that. Like, if you're doing it to experience what that thing was like, and because you love Cobras, you can sort of own a Cobra. You won't only
I get that. Yeah.
You can have a Cobra experience. But if you can't afford a Ferrari, so you build a car that looks like a Ferrari, isn't a Ferrari,
BMW Z3 or something.
Yeah, you've done yourself a disservice. Don't get me wrong, I do like it when people modify those, because there's that the guy who runs Status Error has got that MR2 with a with
the F355.
That's it, yeah. And that's like to modify it like that, like the Liberty Walk Miura. That's also a cunning idea.
Interestingly, I was first time I went to Le Mans Classic, and we arranged our little meeting that we used to do there. A guy turned up there with a Ferrari Dino in a weird metallic green color, but it's beautiful. It's absolutely lovely. And he turned up with a number of other guys that had Ferraris, and we were talking to him, and he said, "Oh, it's a replica." And it was built off a Toyota, but it was absolutely perfect. Like, the other Ferrari guys were like, "Oh no, it's perfect, it's perfect." And then someone said, "Ask him how he knows it's perfect." And the guy that owns it also owns a Ferrari Dino. He just drives this as a daily driver because he doesn't want to ruin his Ferrari Dino. And I was just like, okay, fair play. Like, you get to drive around in a Ferrari Dino and you have one. So yeah, maybe. I'm all for fixing or adjusting kit cars of this era into something more palatable for a modern audience. So yeah, it's a little bit lower, and it's got some slightly wider wheels, and you've cleaned out the front, and as you say, you've raked back the windscreen. And I think that it's because they're a kit car, they're kind of ripe for doing that. They're not a real car. Like, if you see what I mean, like there's a lot you can do to them, because you can't offend anybody because they're all built from kits. So what's it matter? What's it matter if you start chopping it around and doing stuff?
There's quite a lot of them. And do you know what I discovered actually while I was doing the kit car ones? I don't know. We should have to discuss the Midas that went. We'll find the Midas for next time at some point. But I did some research on it, and do you know who owns a Midas?
No,
a really nice little one. No. Gordon Murray.
Well, if Gordon Murray owns one, they're definitely worth owning.
He's got an orange one, but he hasn't got a Dutton Phaeton.
I think, I went, as soon as I saw this picture, I went onto eBay and looked for Dutton Phaetons, and I think they're a very doable thing. Also, the restrained colour scheme as well was quite nice as well.
Yeah, because they're all like orange and red and stuff, aren't they?
Yeah. I think we're going to have to leave it there, because we are nearly 25 minutes in. I could keep on talking about this particular subject for days, so I suspect there is a podcast in this. Talking about car ideas, which I keep on coming back to. I don't know if anybody wants us to chat for an hour about rando car ideas, but we're gonna. So
I can't believe anyone wants to hear us chat for an hour about anything. But
no,
some people do.
Apparently, that's a thing that happens. People are
clearly
bored.
Before we go any further or end, as I think we're heading towards.
Yes.
Did we get any sponsorship offers yet?
No. Green tea, big green tea, like Big Pharma is out there, and they've yet to contact me. I think it's a conspiracy.
That's it. I mean, I've resorted now to off-brand cola, in the hope
ZX. Is that a Datsun reference?
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. It's we should just buy this, remarket it, we'll get it in Audi, and then call this like an energy. We'll do a big advertising campaign.
Nissan ZX.
Get it on the side of an F1 car. ZX Cola. It's not that nice.
There's your advert. Oh no, you've ruined it.
Sorry, I'll do it again. Hang on. Oh, ZX Cola. That's nice. I've got the strapline as well. Some Santa-looking dude Everyone's going to buy it. Everyone who's got a Nissan ZX or a CX, if you're in other markets, you can do languages. Yeah, that's what's going to happen. We're going to be millionaires.
We're going to be millionaires, Rodney. Right. That's that.